Hi, I'm Michael Mowbray, master photographer based out of DeForest, Wisconsin. I'm here to talk to you about how to look your best on your wedding day. Now, why would we want to talk about that? Well, you've spent a fortune on the dress, you've been starving for months, you've been working out for at least the last week, and what else do you need to do to look the best on your wedding day? Because you put all this time and effort into everything else, but if you don't stand right, if you don't pose right, and you don't have the right posture, you're not going to look your best on your wedding day. So I'm here to talk you through some basic posing, some ways to stand, the way to get the best posture, the best look, the best body language on your wedding day. Have you ever seen a runway model look schlumpy? No, because they know how to walk, they know how to stand, they know how to pose, they have poise. And that's some of the stuff we're going to try to teach you today. So I'm going to talk about the 4 P's of looking your best on your wedding day. So why are the 4 P's important? Well, in your photography is a two-dimensional medium, and what that does to the average person is it makes them flatter and wider. And who wants to look flatter and wider on their wedding day? You want to have a great look, you want to have some dimension to your look, and how we do that as photographers, we do it through posing and we do it through lighting. And that's why we're going to talk about the 4 P's. So the first rule is position, and the most important thing with position is never straight to the camera. Because this is the widest you'll ever look is when you're straight onto the camera. So we always want to be at an angle. So the first thing to keep in mind is turn at a little slight angle. That's going to make you look slimmer, because look at me, I'm a heavy guy. This is the heaviest I'm going to look on camera. I turn like this and oh my God, I'm thin. It's amazing. So never straight to the camera. The only time you ever maybe want to go straight to the camera is if you're looking for a really dramatic, challenging look. Sometimes this works for grooms, sometimes this works for brides too. But these are exceptions to the rule. Just think, you always want to stand at a little bit of an angle. The other thing, and this works for both grooms and for brides, you want to place your weight on your back hip. Why is that? Because whatever recedes from the camera tends to be diminished. Whatever comes towards the camera looks larger. So as soon as we drop weight on the back hip, you start to take some more weight off that way. It adds curves. For women and for guys, it gives a nice, confident look. So remember, a little bit of an angle, drop your weight on your back foot. From there, guys and women have 2 different rules, and we're going to run through those different poses. Let's talk a little bit about posing, because most of my clients, one of the first things they tell me is that they really don't want to be posed. Well, what I'm hearing is that they really don't want to look stiff and formal. They don't want to go through this process where it's like, well, put your hand here and put your head here and put your foot here and all that kind of stuff. I understand that. I get that. I don't really want to do that either. But if we leave it too unstructured, too often, you don't look good. So we need to find a happy medium, and that's one of the reasons why we're running through some of these examples. So I'd rather keep it natural, I'd rather keep it real and relaxed, but just understanding some of the basic concepts and some of the basic rules allows you to have the confidence to get yourself into the right body position. So I don't have to pose you, I can coach you and direct you. And that's what we're trying to do today. One of the first rules of position is, remember the old song, head, shoulders, knees, and toes? I'm not going to sing it, trust me. We flip that around. It's really toes, knees, hips, shoulders, head. Why do we talk about it that way? Well, we try to build all of our looks and all of our poses from the ground up. If you don't have your feet in the right spot, everything else is just going to look a little wonky. So let's bring KJ out and we'll show you what we mean. A little further, a little further, a little further. There you go. Good, 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 good. Okay. Now, KJ can kind of get away with standing square to the camera. But you know what? We're still going to use some of these posing rules. First thing we do is we work with the feet. So KJ, I'm just going to have you model what I'm doing. So rather than square to the camera, we're going to turn your hips a little bit this way and bring your front foot a little bit further past your back foot. Okay? Look what that does. We went from very straight and static to having some nice curves just by how we position the feet. And that's why we call this wedding feet. You remember how to place your feet like this, you're going to look great all day long. So remember, position number 1, wedding feet. is take a moment to talk about posture, because we can get you in the right position, we can put beautiful light on you, but if you're all schlumpy, it doesn't look good. So first thing to think about with posture is, in terms of, especially if you're standing, think up and in. You want to raise up to your full height, and you want to suck it in. So suck it in, raise up to your full height. That's going to automatically give you good posture. Did you do that? See? Looks good, right? So remember, suck it in, raise up to your full height. That's the best thing you can do for your posture. Another rule with posing, to get the most feminine look, and who doesn't want to look feminine in their wedding dress? I mean, come on. We want to try to get what we call S-curves. How do we get S-curves? Well, one major way is starting off with what we call wedding feet, and we pull the front foot a little bit beyond the back foot. That starts to introduce curves. What we also do is, by dropping the weight on the back hip and starting to work with the head and the shoulder position, we start to get things on what we call alternating planes. So we've got anything that you've got two of, we put on alternating planes. So her knees and her hips and her shoulders and her head are all going to be alternating, and that's what gives us the S shape. And how we do that is we just tip the head very slightly to that front shoulder. Boom! We've got a very nice, very feminine look. And that's how we introduce those curves and get the look of what we call S curves. Everything you got two of, get them on two different levels. The same thought is, you typically don't want to have your head straight onto the camera. Again, you can do that. It gives you a very dramatic look. It's a very challenging look, but you don't want to look dramatic and challenging all day on your wedding day, unless you're a bridezilla. Yeah. So think, you almost always want to have your head tipped, because again, it gets your eyes on different levels. So it all works with the feet and the knees and the hips and the shoulders, and the head and the eyes are all on different levels. It gives a very nice, very feminine look. Once we've got the feet, the hips, the shoulders, the head all in the right position, what are we left with? Well, where do you put your hands? And that's usually where a lot of brides struggle. More often than not, they're kind of straight down. Straight down typically doesn't work. Sometimes you can get away with a little bit of a couture look doing that, but more often than not you can't. Where do we want to put the hands? Well, if you're not holding your bouquet, a good place to put them, quite honestly, is kind of like on your hips. So let's go ahead and drop it like that. Now, what I like to do is I like to try to get them on different levels. So I may just bring this hand down just a little bit lower. Remember that whole rule, whatever you've got two of, you want to have on different levels. So what this does is it also accentuates the slimness. It accentuates the curves. Bring your hands back and your arms back down in your body. As soon as you bring your arms alongside your body, it adds width, because the arms become part of your torso. It adds width to your body. You want to make it look slimmer, you pop those hands on hips and you get some gap in between your arms and your body. It's a great look. It instantly takes off weight and shows off your curves. So remember, arms away from the body. Now let's bring in the flowers. Now when you bring in the bouquet, how do you handle the bouquet? There's some general rules for that too. Remember, we were just talking about, well, we want to have the arms away from the body. That's the first thing we want to do. The other thing we want to do is, in this kind of pose, we want to bring those flowers a little bit more off the front hip. Maybe tip them just a little bit. Because remember, again, straight up and down, static straight at the camera is boring. So we want to get things at angles and alternating. Same kind of thing with the flowers. As long as we can get just a little swing of the elbow here so we can see a gap between the elbows and the body, it's a great look. Another rule for holding your flowers is, once you want to get those arms away from the body, what I see a lot of brides and bridesmaids do is they start to do what I call the arm curl. They start to bring them up like this, and it's great if you want to show off the pipes, but you really want to break that 90-degree angle. So you don't want to have a real sharp angle here. You want to bring them down just a little bit. There. It's a lot more elegant. It's a lot more feminine to do it that way. So resist trying to come up and arm curl those flowers, unless you've got a really heavy bouquet and you just want to get a little workout during the wedding, which is okay. I can understand that. You're missing your workout that day. But if you want them to look good, break the plane here so we're not at 90-degree at a 90-degree angle. Now, other things we can do with the flowers is we can hold them in one hand. We're going to bring your left hand over to your hip, just like that. Just little things you can do. Your photographer should be able to guide you through this, but if they don't, you can naturally do this and they're going to think you're wonderful. They're going to think you're the best bride ever. So how does all this positioning and posing work for guys? Well, let's bring Misha out and we'll show you. Misha, come on out. And again, we're going to start him off square to the camera. The easy thing for guys, I hate to tell you brides, but guys have it so easy. You know, they always wear black. I mean, they don't have a lot of choices. You got 1,000 million wedding dresses to choose from. You know, guys got black, and like, what color is the vest going to be? The other thing is there are like 3 or 4 basic poses for guys, and it's 112 for ladies. So we're going to run you through the basic poses for guys, how guys look their best, and then we'll get back to KJ. So, sorry. So again, we've got him square to the camera. You know what? You can pull off square to the camera as a guy, because again, remember, this is the biggest you're going to look is when you're square to the camera, but that is a more masculine look. So that's actually okay. So if you're looking for a dramatic masculine look, you can turn yourself towards the camera. More often than not, especially if you start to work with your bride, you want to have a little bit of an angle. You want to be able to turn into her. So just turn a little bit of an angle and drop your weight on your back hip. Same kind of thing. So from here, it's what do we do with hands? And this is where you get the pose variations for guys. It's like hands straight at the side actually work for guys because it's okay to add width through the body like this. From there, it's you drop hands in pockets. Now, with a formal suit like this, a formal tux, I do like to see thumbs just like we're demonstrating here. Next thing we can do is, I don't think you can do this because he's been working out a little bit. We do an arms folded things, but I think we might just rip the jacket. Yeah, we're pretty close. That's actually, that works okay. Okay, that's kind of it. From there, you know, you don't really want to do the make a fist and slowly raise it up underneath your chin. Not a good look. Anyway, from there, we unbutton the jacket. So that's just kind of a more casual look. I'm going to turn you a little bit more towards the camera. Drop one hand in the pocket. You could do the Napoleon. That actually works out okay. Drop the other hand down, drop it in the pocket. A lot of different ways you can just kind of work variations off of this. But you know what? There are just really those 3 or 4 basic simple poses. We can pull the jacket off, we can throw it over the shoulder. You know, a lot of this is just fairly traditional and fairly formal. It's good to know some of these, it's good to work some of these in, but from there it's more like working the bride and groom together and getting them to relate together. And that's where you get the magic on the wedding day with your photography. Let's talk about head position for guys. For ladies, we typically, as I said, we want to tip to the high shoulder, whatever that front shoulder is, because it's a little bit more feminine look. With guys, you really want to try to keep your head perpendicular to your shoulder line. So just like this, because as soon as we start to tip his head to the high shoulder, it starts to look fabulous. And that's not necessarily the look you want to have as a groom. Maybe you do, that's okay. So remember, try to keep your head fairly perpendicular to where your shoulder line is. Very simple rule to remember. As far as if your head is direct to the camera or if it's a little bit of an angle, either one works for a guy. Again, direct to the camera is a little bit more dramatic, it's a little bit more challenging. We just want to turn the head just very slightly and then look back to the camera. That's usually a more pleasing view. And so just try to remember, angle on the body, weight on the back foot, head at a slight angle, you're going to look great all day long. Let's have a private word about chins. Now, I'm a chin sufferer. I know what I'm talking about here. If you want to take a little weight off your chin or many chins, simple rule to remember. It's not raise it up because then everybody's looking up your nose. Not a good look. What you want to do is you want to stick it out and down. So it's chin out and down. Let's do a few sets of these. Ready? Chin out and down. Chin out and down. And that's the way you tighten up everything underneath your chin. So if you've got a little extra weight here, just make sure you're going chin out and down. It's going to feel like you're doing a turtle all day, but it's going to look good in your photos. So we've talked a lot about how to pose you guys individually, and quite honestly, that's just a handful of shots during the day. Most of them are going to be with the two of you. So how do we do couple shots? How do you stand as a couple? Let's run through some of the rules for that, well, they're not even really rules, but some guidelines that help you guys look fabulous, look really connected, look in love, and just these simple guidelines will really help you guys out a lot. So we're going to start with like what we call a very, very basic, very formal, traditional V pose, and you can kind of work from there. And that is face towards each other, a little bit of an angle. As a matter of fact, help her hold those heavy flowers. Oh, look at that. Oh, look, it's a heart shape. Oh. But it's just a nice way to bring you guys together. It allows you to get nice and tight to each other too. Very classic look. From here, you can kind of rock it back and forth. So you know what we're going to do? We're just going to take it a little edgier. All we're going to do is we're going to take you guys, we're just going to take her this way. Take her over, follow her, go with her, look at each other, look at each other, look at each other, get nice and tight, uncomfortably close. You took a traditional pose and did something a little bit more romantic with it. Oh, you guys quit staring cross at each other. Another classic pose is just to take the bride and rotate her the other way. I call this the overlap. Again, it allows you guys to get very tight together. And look how close we can get your heads together too. That tells a good part of the story, is getting your heads close in relationship to each other. The other part of the story that we're telling is how you guys touch each other. And that's a really compelling story, is where you place your hands. Too often I have couples that just don't touch each other. It's like, it's your wedding day, man. Go ahead and feel each other up. It's good. No, maybe you want to stop there. But you want to touch each other because that does tell the story. I just want to show you very quickly on video here some different things you can do with your hands just when you guys are faced towards each other. I'm going to go further and we're going to do a bunch of still shots, and we'll show those at the end of the video to give you an idea of where you guys can go with some of the photos. So here's a good spot to start off with. Hand just kind of up on the shoulder. Her hand can come this way. Look how delicate it looks once we start to turn the hand a little bit more to the side to the camera. From there, you can bring hand up to the face, then close their eyes, bring their heads together. You start to get emotion. You start to get some real reality here. That's a lot better than when you're just standing there looking at the camera. Oh, and they're nuzzly. Isn't that sweet? Let's have a quick word about kissing, because many people just look really awkward when they're kissing on camera, but on your wedding day, you kind of want to slip a little kissing in, right? Because it also helps tell the story, it's the emotion, it's the reality of the day. So how do you look good kissing? Well, you could practice in front of a mirror and have people take photos of you, but that's just a little weird. And it might show up on the internet too. So the other thing you can do is you can do what I call the almost kiss. So you guys just kind of come together, it's very close, and that gives you a lot more intimacy without doing the actual kiss. And then we typically will finish off with a kiss. I'll take a look at a couple and say, do they kiss well? Click, 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 click. Do they not kiss well? I just won't tell them about it. Just a quick recap. You want to relax and be yourselves on your wedding day. It allows you to enjoy your wedding day, and it's more real for you that way too. But you want to be the best versions of yourselves. That's why you've got these beautiful clothes that you purchased or rented for the day, so you look fabulous. You've been working out, you've been starving, you know how to pose, you know how to position yourself, but relax too and be confident with the day, and that's going to show in your photographs, and it's going to show that you had fun during the day of your wedding. Remember to hydrate throughout the day, because you don't want to, pass out during the ceremony or at the reception. So make sure you get a lot of water to drink. As a matter of fact, the week coming into your wedding, make sure you hydrate a lot. That's going to go a long way to making sure you feel really good on your wedding day. Be confident, be fun. Remember the 4 P's, which are position, pose, posture, and poise. Get those 4 P's nailed down. You're going to look fabulous all day on your wedding day. And finally, smile, have fun, enjoy it. It's the best day of your life.
Legend, the rain, I'm your first thought and
Body Language is brought to you by Beautiful Portraits by Michael. Tell your story beautifully with International Gold Photographer of the Year, Michael Mowbray. The wedding dress and accessories were provided by Mara's Elegant Bridal of Mount Horeb. Mara's, be a more elegant you. Formal wear provided by Nedrabos Formal Wear. Nedrabos, ask about the color match guarantee. Flowers provided by the Petal Patch of McFarland, creating beautiful flowers for beautiful brides. Hairstyling provided by Christina Walsh from Blues Hair Studio of Madison. Makeup provided by professional makeup artist Kendra Gassner.